The Thunder welcomed the Knicks into Paycom Center last night and gave us a seesaw battle that had the Knicks build a 14-point lead in the first half, only to see the inevitable and inexorable comeback by the home team behind none other than Shai Gilgeous Alexander. While OKC was a little lucky they went up against a mediocre defense, it doesn't seem to matter for a guy who surprises us all when he misses a shot these days, since there are no good answers for someone so shifty, so mid-rangey, so caring and sharing, and so unstoppable. Mark Daniel's game plan against anybody is to run as many ball screens as possible for SGA, putting the ball in his hands and letting him control the possession. Of course, they're going to want to target the bigger and slower players on the court, which means, sorry Cat, you're going to be miserable every second you're on this end of the floor. Tom Thibdeau opted to play drop coverage the whole time with him, and this just lets Shai walk into the lane where he's as good if not better finishing with his left hand as his right. We could argue the worst part of Gilgeous Alexander's game is his distance shooting, where he's hitting almost 36% from back there, but over his last 10 games, he's at an elite 40%, and he'll have his choice of shots when the big drops to the elbow and someone as good at setting screens like Isaiah Hartenstein is getting in the way of SGA's man. What's so tricky about his drives is how you're never sure what speed he's going to attack you with. Watch how he lowers down into an attack stance. Most guys would accelerate to top speed from this position, but instead, he hits the hole at about 80%, uses that off-arm elbow to ward off evil spirits, and then uses an off-foot finish to release the ball soft through contact off the glass. In response to the frustration Karl Anthony Towns was going through,
what are we talking about?
All I can say is, add your name to the very long list. The inside-out dribble with the left causes Towns to drop his left foot and open up. Let's just say his footwork and body position is suboptimal, and if he wasn't bent over so far, he'd move a lot better in this action. As the window closes with the help from Josh Hart, SGA's got a choice to hit elite shooter Lou Dort open in the corner, or just step right over Hart's foot and windmill the ball back to the right to ensure the obvious contact with Towns and earn 2 of his 7 free throws on the night. The Thunder also like to run a flat screen so SGA can choose which side he'd like to attack, since his left-handed dribble is as threatening as his right. Without Cat in there, they can switch this and have another great defender in Josh Hart pick him up, only to be soundly embarrassed by this move as Precious Achiuwa just watches. While spin moves are fairly common, watch how SGA executes this one. He uses his right foot almost like a jab step while also skipping on his left foot to make sure this is even more explosive. Also watch how he raises the ball then dips it back down low to help generate even more speed into the spin. Hart is powerless as he crumples to the ground and SGA off-foots this layup into the hoop uncontested. I've been patiently waiting for Jalen Williams to finally get healthy, since I think he's a complete X factor for this team, particularly as a great ball screen setter. The problem in guarding SGA is that modern defenses want to give up the mid-range shot as much as possible. However, what this guy is doing from 10 to 16 feet is insane, something Kevin Durant could only do once in his career, and his overall 2-point percentage is better than Michael Jordan ever shot in a season. So, credit to Achiuwa for a good contest, but SGA's high release point ensures he can get it off, and he's been completely locked in this season. Here's another good screen by Williams to rub pesky defender Landry Shamet off. At some point, you've got to adjust and show SGA different looks. And we can even hear Thibs yell, up, up, up!
Under a minute to go in the third.
But Cat does the opposite and backs down. A wide open shot like this is why he's been shooting so well. Hilariously, now Thibs yells back to make sure Cat can protect the rim. It's got to be frustrating, especially when Williams can shoot the 3 ball after popping out behind the line. While SGA isn't a pass-first guard by any stretch, he is a willing passer, which is why you've got to take that into consideration when making your daily fantasy picks with Prize Picks. This is by far the most fun I have had on any app when trying to figure out whether players will get more or less in certain stats. Tonight I've got Cat scoring a ton against Vucevic and the Bulls, Embiid not hitting a lot of threes versus the Nets, and Lillard going off against his old team. You can now win up to 1,000 times your money, and I know when these picks hit, I'll get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. Best of all, download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. You should be attracted to Prize Picks as much as the defense is to SGA on his drives to the paint. Check how all 5 defenders are basically in the paint off this J-Will ball screen. Rather than shoot over a great defender in OG Anunoby, he can make a mid-air decision to fire it back out, and this is like a shooting drill. I suppose Thibs didn't adjust much on these pick and rolls because he doesn't trust his defense. Here, we can hear him yell, "Fire!" because he wants Precious to blast the ball and get it out of his hands. Finally, force someone else to make a play. But Precious just drops back and gets very lucky this ball somehow rimmed out. It was really fun watching one of the premier offensive threats in the league go against the best defender in the league. And while Mikal Bridges did get the best of the matchup a few times, when it mattered in the fourth, here is Gilgeous Alexander hitting him with a hezzy and then veering to the hoop and going off both feet strong with the inside hand layup to erase the defense from the play. And the Knicks simply couldn't come up with a solution. Even though it looked like OG wanted to step up and offer a shadow towards the ball, they inexplicably let Brunson hedge this ball screen, and despite one of the only times we saw a double team ran at him, it's way too late as Cat simply isn't much of a rim protector. But what are you going to do against a teardrop lefty finger roll? But it's not just the half court where you have to be worried about SGA. He's on a very short list of players you must send multiple defenders to once he starts bearing down on the hoop in transition. After a make, no less, look at the panic from Bridges as he realizes what's about to happen. Now, deciding to aggressively attack arguably the 2 best perimeter defenders in the game right now is a choice, and all they can muster is a foul to stop the layup. On this outlet, Cat has a 20-foot head start but more awful footwork as he's trying to backpedal instead of turning and running. That lead he had evaporates quickly, and check another nice lefty layup high off the glass to avoid any chance of getting blocked. The combination of speed, touch, and dexterity is astounding. This was the most frustrated I've been in a while. After a made free throw, the Knicks screw up their matchups and end up with Brunson on SGA on an island. It's nice of Bridges to point this out, but Cat is completely oblivious to where the ball is, and SGA abuses Brunson all the way to the basket. And I can guarantee you that Thibs threw something across the room on this one, as after yet another score, the other 4 defenders not guarding SGA have no idea where the ball is until it's too late. With Bridges, OG, and Hart on the floor, there's no excuse for basic ball awareness to get screwed up like this, and we see another great in-air decision to dump off the ball to the cutter for the easy basket. I also like that there are times SGA functions as a cog in the machine, playing off supreme ball movement and quick decision making to attack on the catch, and I truly think Shai prefers going to his left as Cat is again ineffective at protecting the rim. I always like a baseline out of bounds play that utilizes the inbounder as an attacker, especially off a full speed handoff. If he's dribbling into the lane this deep unimpeded, it's over. There's nothing you can do to influence the result. And it was great to see how much he trusted his teammates to make plays in the fourth quarter as they mounted their comeback, with Aaron Wiggins scoring an improbable 15 points in the final frame when Brunson doesn't realize he's supposed to be over there guarding him. Since he's behind Hart and OG, he needs to see that they're picking up Wallace and Williams and that he's effectively not guarding anyone. He doesn't realize this. He even throws up his hands in frustration, but he'll be looking in the mirror today when going through the film, if Thibs hasn't shattered the mirror by now. It took till the last 4 minutes for Cat to start stepping up on the ball screen, and one reason why they didn't want to do this is because Shai can hit Wiggins on the roll. Hart is a half-second late rotating over, and this one was the game changer, culminating in a bad pass from Brunson in half court. Here's an opportunity to do Shai things in transition, but instead, he recognized the opening and Wiggins rewarded him with the nail in the coffin. I honestly can't see anything stopping OKC from getting to the finals at a minimum. Once there, maybe their inexperience will hurt them and a team like the Celtics could beat them. But remember, they're going to get a huge piece in Chet Holmgren back before the playoffs. And with a healthy roster, I don't see anyone beating this team or anyone beating out Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for MVP.